Hi, I'm Rod Anderson from Sandbox Brand Marketing, and we've got another edition of Smile with Sandbox. Today, we're going to speak with Joel. And Joel, really, could you tell us a bit about yourself? Tell us about your organization, and tell us what business looked like coming into the tail end of 2019.
Sure, thanks, Rod. I would say that, so myself, Joel Cawthorn, I'm the president of Startec Refrigeration Services, and I'm owner in the Startec group of companies. If we want to look at, I guess, where we were at, we've been on a very, I would say, growth-oriented trajectory, and we've been internally doing a ton of work on culture and building out a team, and we've been experiencing some great success. And so coming into 2019, we had just come off of a record year. We had really grand plans for continued significant growth in one of our markets that we were pursuing. So we had all of the stepping stones laid down, and we were marching the path, and budgets and forecasts were all in place, and we were thinking that the world was going to be great. And hearing little inklings about what was happening over in China, thinking, oh, wow, isn't that something? And not really taking it very seriously. And so that came upon us, I guess. And so more to add than that, I think we were anticipating a really solid year.
So tell me, Joel, for the people listening, what did you guys face kind of coming into that crisis timing in kind of late Feb and into March? Tell us a bit about how that impacted your business, and how did it feel to you to be going through that?
Yeah, in hindsight, it moved really quickly, and I guess it did move really quickly. It seems to me like 1 week we were contemplating trial working from home because we thought maybe that was something that we might have to execute on. To the next week, everybody was at home, so it was I would say, a mass scramble of protocol preparation, policy development. The IT and HR people and the safety people they really stepped up, actually, and we were able to facilitate that in relatively painless fashion because of the prep work that our IT group had done in the technology sphere. So thank goodness this happened now, as opposed to even 2 or 3 years ago, where the technologies wouldn't have supported it. But really what happened, we were deemed an essential service relatively early on, so we knew we needed to continue operations. So the real focus for us was primarily about the safety of our people, and also how we were going to be able to continue to produce and provide service. So in the one group in our production facility, for example, we have typically a couple of shifts running, but they're working close to one another. So we immediately had to jump into a wipe down protocol. We changed the shift structure so that they were separated in distance so that we could do a full wipe down protocol between shifts. And then we kept the shifts separate so that if there's an infection had hit, then it would, we could eliminate the spread as rapidly as possible. And so lots and lots of thought was put into that, both for the safety of our people and for the production, like I was saying. And then the service folks, are out there doing it. They were I would say, the warriors on the team, and that they were out continuing to do the work. And yes, the work was definitely dramatically reduced, right? Let's be honest about that. Anything non-essential was shut down. We do a lot of work with arenas, for example. They were immediately shut down. But food processing, cold storage, those are the things that are necessary to keep the wheels turning. So they were still requiring service and attention. So our focus was on providing, I would say, operating protocols for the field staff so that they could remain safe, and also dealing with customer concerns, because everyone was facing this, I would say, in a different way. And it's not like there was a manual you could pull out and say, this is how we do it. So we were having to be responsive to the customer's needs in that respect. So I would say it was a grand effort, and really what happened for us as a response is we brought all of our, I would say, operational team together in sort of a COVID planning mode. So 3 times a week, we set up an hour. We would talk about all of the operating entities. We'd talk about HR, IT, safety, corporate, wondering about money, right? So all those different elements were at the top of the agenda for every meeting. And that continued on and still continues to today, actually, as it goes. We reduced frequency of meeting, of course. And then we had a senior team business continuity cadence as well, where we would just talk about opportunities that the market might present in light of this, but also challenges, cash flow, all those things that you're needing to deal with as you go through the uncertainty, right? So yeah, it was it was in hindsight a whirlwind of activity. I think March felt like it lasted a decade. April kind of, took a little longer, or it was a little bit better, I should say. But yeah, it was an experience, to be sure.
Joel, is there anything, if you think about as the leader and the visionary in your part of the organization, what would you say was the most difficult thing that you had to overcome?
Oh, yes, good question. There were certainly a number of challenges. I think one of the things we struggled with was how do we balance the needs of the organization against the needs of our people? And that was really about ensuring that they were still receiving an income, trying to maximize opportunity with respect to that with government programs, which were changing on a daily basis, versus keeping people on payroll when you can see the bottom line is not meeting expectation by any means. So that was probably the biggest challenge, and that required, some wage rollbacks, some temporary layoffs, so benefits reduction, all those types of things that are there. Those are very difficult to choose to do, and how do you decide how much and for how long, right? So I would say in hindsight, for me, that was it. And one of the overriding factors that my messaging out to our team at the time, and during, I would say, was that we want to come through this with our entire team intact, because we felt that this pandemic hadn't and wouldn't disrupt our business model fundamentally. So if we could just get to the other side and keep all of our A players in our team together, we would be well positioned to just jump back on again. So that was really the kind of overriding philosophy with all the decisions we were making, and so far to date, as we sit here today, that we were successful. So we have our team; we're all back at full capacity now, and hoping to jump back in as the market opens up. We'll be positioned to just step back in and continue on.
Awesome. Tell us, Joel, do you feel like, and here we're doing this June the 17th, does it feel like we're coming out the other side, specific to your business? And how is there anything that has changed in your business as a result of going through this crisis today?
I would say so there's a bunch of different elements involved with return to normal, I think, for us. But one is, just general maintenance activities, which always have to happen. And those were definitely postponed. So that's more or less reopened. That's begun to proceed as it was prior. Capital projects, so big construction opportunities, a lot of those were deferred and continue to be deferred until they can get the wheels turning. So we don't expect to see that really returning until probably the last quarter of this year. So even through the summer here, I think they'll get the wheels turning again. And then on the other side of the business in our compression and process group, not only was it the pandemic, but also the oil price. So that's been double whammy in that sense. So just not a lot of money going out for capital projects in that world. So we've been forced to look for alternative opportunities, and we were well on our way to diversifying prior to this pandemic and the oil collapse, for that matter. So it's not like it caught us unawares, but that's going to be a challenge for us as we come out of this. One of the things that I think was helpful for us during this is that because of the government's response with respect to the subsidy, we recognized we could bring some capacity and labor back and do internal projects for our own betterment that we wouldn't normally have time or the inclination to do. So, for example, we built up a construction site trailer, put it all together. We can stock inventory, get up a little office setup, things, nice to haves, but we also hadn't really finished our move-in process. So we got our entire service shop set up. We built a tool crib, redid our entire Edmonton office. We're in the process of, dressing it all up. So doing a lot of things that I think were nice to haves and will be quite helpful going forward. And then also some strategic initiatives we were able to continue on. Like we've been working on an Internet of Things proof of concept, whereby we can start to leverage that technology for our clients. And so it gave us some ability to focus on some things we probably wouldn't have spent as much time. So in terms of getting us better, one thing I can say is we know exactly where every dollar gets spent now. So going through the financials, figuring out where our money was going, we were very sure we knew what was being spent and where we were spending it. So we're very, I would say, our financial acumen and where we're spending money is certainly improved. Some of the initiatives that will position us to be scalable in the future. For example, our ERP system as well, we paused that, but we're continuing that path. So it really was about betterment for our own organization during the relative quiet time.
Mm-hmm.
That has, I think that will pay off for us in the long run.
That's great, Joel. Listen, thank you for taking the time today and sharing your story. And we'll let you get on with your day.
It's been a real pleasure. Thanks, Rod.